All right. Am I live? Sweet. I think I am live. All right. Whew. I'm going to see how long I can get this stream going for. It's been a long day, to say the least, but still trucking through. So I've created a to-do list of everything that I need to do, and I'm basically just going to be working on all that kind of stuff. So we'll see how that goes. So I've got a couple of things up on my to-do list here. All of it's polished, so I'm in the realm of polishing the game now. There's 18 hours left in the challenge, or in the jam. So I really want to get as much done tonight as I can so I can just have all of tomorrow morning to just tighten everything up. So we'll see how it goes. All right, first up, I want to... I'm losing track of my windows. What do I want to do first? I want to do a player invulnerability when hit. So let's go ahead and do that. Player. So let's go ahead into the player. I'm going to create a method. Private set, private void set invulnerable. This is going to be a very shaky stream. Okay. So we're going to say invulnerable equals... Well, that's not good. This dot invulnerable equals... Oh, I spelled this wrong. Did I? So I'm going to call this from an animation player, essentially. Okay, we're going to create a new animation. We'll just call it default. Add track. So here, I'm just going to toggle the visibility. So at the root... Oh, I did this wrong. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so visible. And then I guess we'll just do it every 0.5 seconds. We're going to set it to invisible. And we'll just go ahead and duplicate the keys. Okay. If we're going to add a call method track here, I need to build this first. Okay, insert key, set invulnerable. Args 0 true, and then we're going to do it here. Set invulnerable. Args 0 off. Okay. So when the player is invulnerable, we're just going to return out of the hit detection. So it's still going to absorb hits. It's just not going to register any damage. And then we have to play that when I get hit. So go up on here, put it with the rest of the animation players, private animation player. Invulnerability. That's a tough one. Animation player. Invulnerability animation player. Cool. And then in here, invulnerability. Wow, I can't even say it. Invulnerability animation player dot play default. All right, I guess let's see if that works. So I'm going to go ahead and get hit intentionally. That kind of makes the whole thing blink, doesn't it? So maybe doing it at the root node was not the best choice. I could probably do it on the visuals node then. So let's just do visuals.visible. We'll give that a shot instead. Cool. All right, so let's give a multi-shot a try here. See if I can actually absorb multiple hits. Okay, cool. That appears to be working just fine. All right, I really need to get better at not dwelling on the things that I should probably just like not even test this stuff, really. Just like see if it works really quick and then stop. Because I'm losing a lot of time just being paranoid about testing it. So, invulnerability. I can always spend tomorrow fixing up any issues that may come up during playtesting. All right, so I need to do enemy death animation. That's a big one that's going to add a lot to the game. And so I've been putting this one off because I think it's going to be a little bit of work, but I think now is the time to do it. So I don't think I'm actually going to animate the enemy here. I think what I'm probably going to do is just have like... I could do like a bunch of particle effects, perhaps. I don't know if I want to do that, though. I could do a bunch of particle effects. I could make the thing explode. I could do both. So I think what I'm going to do is I do want to like make a slight explosion. So let's create a new... I don't want to do something that's going to take a bunch of time, though. Oh, man, I should have thought about this some more. What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Yeah, I think making it blow up is probably okay. All right, I'm going to do something really quick and see if this works. I'm going to create a new thing called jib. Okay. Hey, Das Chala, thank you so much. Yeah, I streamed pretty early this morning, but back at it now. Trying to eke out another hour and a half or 2 hours of work here before going to bed. I really want to get everything finished up, everything important finished up tonight so that tomorrow can just be a day of like polishing and tightening and making everything look good. Starting to feel the time pressure a little bit, but we're going to get it done. So we're going to get it done. So I'm just gonna build this real quick. So I'm gonna do scripts effect cool game.effect. And what am I gonna do here? I'm going to say offset equals sprite.offset. Global position and texture equals sprite.texture. Cool. So I'm basically just creating a jib that's going to copy whatever I pass into it, and then on ready I can just say private const float gravity equals 500. So basically I'm just going to, instead of building a particle, I'm just going to code my own. And the reason is because particles are a pain to get to shoot in different random directions. There's no like direction randomness as far as I'm aware with particles. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it in here basically. Okay, so we're going to say velocity equals. Is tomorrow the deadline? Yes, it is. Yeah, tomorrow at 3 p.m. my time. We got about 18 hours left, I think. Let's see. 18 hours, 20 minutes. So plenty of time. Plenty of time. But still got to hustle a little bit. So I'm just setting up an angular velocity now. Randf range, and we're going to say negative 20, 20f. Cool, cool. And then in the process, override void process. I will set up an animation player for this scale, though. This is just going to handle the trajectory. So I'm going to say velocity plus equals gravity times delta times vector 2 dot down. And then we're going to say global position plus equals velocity times delta. And then I'm going to say rotation plus equals angular velocity times delta. Okay, so that's our trajectory for the little jib here. Hey, FryDev, welcome back. Nice to see you again. Okay, so let's do an animation player now here. And the animation player is going to be responsible for doing squash and stretch when it explodes, and also the cleanup. So you know how I love to use the animation players for cleanup. So we're not going to do that. We're going to do the scale. So to start the scale at 0, actually at 1. We're going to send it up like a squash and stretch real quick at 1 point. Let's do 2 and 0.5 in the x. Then after a tenth of a second, we'll set the x to 1.5 and the y to 0.8. And then we'll set it to 1 and 1. And then we're going to set it to 0 over time here. We're going to let it hang a little bit though. And then I'm going to add a call method track to queue free it at the end. And I can probably test this with some sort of art asset here. So let's just add some feet. There you go. That feels way longer than a second. But in any case, I'm going to reduce the time. Cool. So now the way that I'm planning on using this is I wish there was a way to generalize it, because I can use this now for all the... Ooh, I should show you guys the boss that I made. Y'all want to see the boss? So there's the boss. Loosely modeled after my cat, subconsciously apparently. And I'll show you what he looks like in game here. So, remind me to clean this up when I'm done because I don't want the boss to spawn at the first in the first room. Let me get this configured really quick. Slight little detour here. Okay, here we go. Boss time. Okay, so this is a boss in game. He's got 20 hit dice. He does a radius attack. He goes into this dash mode, which is like a... okay, well, he's doing too much right now. So he goes into a dash mode where he constantly shoots and he runs really quick away or just randomly. And then he does a circular attack and then he does a fan attack like that. And so this is the boss fight, essentially. This will happen at the end of the game. And there's still some bugs. If he's up against the wall here, all of the cards immediately die, so got to fix that. But otherwise, I like it a lot. I think that this... I'm worried that people aren't going to play the game. Or see what I'm paranoid about implementing a boss in a game jam is because either people are going to be like, all right, I get the game, and they quit before they get to the boss, or I inadvertently make the game too hard and they can't get to the boss. Those are my biggest fears. So I'm like, I try to make the game as easy as possible so that people are likely to get to the boss because I spent a lot of time on it. But, you know, we'll see. But yeah, so that's the boss. What are the other things I did? So I changed it so that you can only reload by dashing. So that solved a couple of problems. One, I wanted there to be a delay between the reload. So the player, you know, can't just keep spamming over and over again. But I also wanted the dash to be a way for the player to reset their load, right? The amount of, or the dice that they have in their selection, right? And so I was like, well, I could just solve both problems by just requiring the player to dash to reload. And so that's what I did. And so now dashing can be used as a movement ability, but it's also the only way that you can reload. So I think that's pretty sweet. Boss framework. Yeah. Bosses are a lot of fun to design, but they're like quite tedious, you know, unfortunately. The biggest issue that I have with AI generally is it feels very hard to generalize AI. Like, I've always struggled with that. Like, even state machines, like the best I can do is create a state machine framework and like extract some smaller components out for like movement and pathfinding. But I find it very hard to generalize it beyond that. It's a lot of repeating yourself, and maybe I'm doing it wrong, but thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, you feel the same? Oh, wow. Are you building yours in the Godot engine as well, Goo92? Welcome to the stream, by the way. Good to see you. Good to have you here. All right, I got to get back to work. That's enough showing off the boss. Right, I was trying to figure out a way to generalize the jib. So what I can do is I can say, let's create a new component. And I'm gonna, oh, I'm a genius. Here we go. Well, we'll leave that for you guys to decide. I'm gonna create a jib component, and what this is gonna do is I'm gonna be able to assign a bunch of node paths that need to generate jibs when the thing dies. I think that's gonna be the best way to do this. GameMaker. Oh, yeah. I remember doing GameMaker. You have to do a lot of manual cleanup of the data, don't you? Like the data structures. I used to use GameMaker Studio 2 exclusively before switching to Godot years ago. I think I switched to Godot in like 2017 or 2018. I think it was 2017, if I recall correctly. But thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy with how the boss turned out. Now it's just a race against time to get the game into the state that I want it to be in. I mean, I could just throw some sounds on the game and release it as is now, but I still don't have an options menu. I don't have like a tutorial or a game complete screen. There's a ton of animations and particles missing, so it's just like, it's all so overwhelming. But that's the fun of the game jam, feeling terrified. Okay, so on ready, what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to say get parent. Actually, let's do owner. Owner dot get first node of type health component dot connect name of health component dot died. This name of on health component died. On health component died. Okay, so in here, what I need to do actually is I need to export a node, an array of node paths. So let's do export private node path array, sprite paths, and we'll just initialize that to a new node path, just so I don't run into any null reference issues. Cool. So for each var path in sprite paths, we're going to say var sprite equals this dot get nullable node path sprite path. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if sprite is not equal to null, then what I can do is we're going to create a bunch of jibs here. So slap in a resource preloader, drag over my jib into that, and then we can wire this up. You made a particle system for every frame. Oh, that'll do it. That'll do it. Get to 120 particle systems real fast. But probably it was more than that, right? Like 10,000 or something. Okay, so var jib equals resource preloader instance seen or null jib. Then we're going to say jib dot create from sprite, and then I need to add it to probably the entities layer. So I'm going to say this dot get ancestor main dot entities dot add child. There we go. Yeah, 10,000. Sometimes it's fun to break your game inadvertently, though. Like, I had, when I was working on this project, not on stream, but earlier, like, I accidentally scaled a particle system, like, absurdly, and so my whole screen turned white. And I was like, what's going on? Okay. So, get ancestor, entities, add jib. I think that ought to do it. So let's try it with the enemies. So I'm going to go ahead and instance a child scene, jib component. I'm going to build this so I can get that export variable here. Sprite paths. Boom, boom, boom. And we're going to decide feet, torso, and head. All right, let's see how that works now. Ugh. Ooh, that did not go the way that I was expecting it to go. Oh, do I need to turn off? Turn off centered. I think that's what I need to do. I also need to actually give it some velocity. I just gave it a direction. So randf range RNG. Nope, mathutil.rng.randf range. And we'll just say, I don't know, like 100 to 1 to 200. Let's go. Okay, better. The other problem is that I'm not playing this animation player on load, so let's check that on. All right, look at that. Seems pretty good. I'm gonna bump up that scale a little bit though. It's kind of weak. Your moves are weak, babe. You guys ever seen that video? What's the guy's name? Evan Breen. I crack up every time I see any of those videos. Two. Okay, let's bring it back down to 1.9 or 0.9. There we go, nice and bouncy. For some reason, that still doesn't seem like super bouncy, but whatever. I don't think it matters. I'm going to add some like explosion effects as well. All right, so I'm curious to see. I want to add this to the enemy as well, and I want to add it to the player, but the complication with the player is that I don't have a health component as the player, so I actually need to manually call it. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I learned more recently than I care to admit that you really need to make it obvious to the player when the enemies are going to attack. It seems like such an obvious thing in hindsight, but it was something that I never really paid attention to. But now I'm trying to like, yes, the player needs to know when the enemy's going to do something. It seems so basic, and yet I think that it's just one of those things that you can easily miss when you're in the technicals of making the game, you know? Getting better at game development slowly but surely. Right, I want to test this. Right there. Enemy spawner. We want to spawn the boss. I just want to see if the boss Jibs works correctly. Well, that's a little bit absurd. Because his head is so big. Well, it doesn't need to be addressed right now. That's fine. All right, let's add it for the player now. But with the player, I'm going to have to manually call a method on this component, probably. Oh, the player has so many parts. All right, so let's create a method in the jib component. Create jibs. And this should just be as simple as taking this block, putting it in there, and then calling create jibs here. Alrighty then. So now in the player, when I die, well, we gotta get that registered here. This is the period in time in the jam where everything becomes spaghetti code. Like, I always do this, like, in the last third or so of the jam, I just throw, like, readability completely out the window and just throw code at the wall. And if I ever decide to continue with a jam game, I'm sure I'm going to regret not making the code nicer. But what are you going to do? Okay, so let's see if this player death works. It looks like more code than in my full game. Well, the thing is, if you're using Game Maker, so that's very streamlined. C# is definitely more verbose. Maybe it's not a good idea to have bumped that scale up so much on this. So let's tune it down a notch. Okay. Oh, I didn't make this cubic either. That might help a little bit. Cubic just looks so much better. I don't know why that's not the default. I guess because it creates some some behavior that might look like an issue for somebody that's not familiar with the different sort of curve types, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying, dude. Okay, well, that's going to have to suffice for a death animation. I'm going to add some particles as well. Actually, I wonder if I should just add particles to the jibs as trails. No, because I want explosions. I suppose I can have that. There's no reason why I can't have that. Let's just try to add particles here. So I can do a trail and also an initial burst. So let's make this one the trail, and then let's add another one here, and we'll call this one the burst. We're gonna make this super, 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 super juicy. I'm gonna need a way to control the colors as well. Because for the enemies, I'm gonna want like probably blue and white or something, but then for the player, I'm gonna want the orange or something. We'll see. All right. So let's get our canvas material over here. Boom. Then drag over my particles. My particle textures, rather. Okay, let's create a new particles material. The other thing that would be nice is if you could define some defaults for the new resources generally, right? Like I'd love to be able to go into the settings somewhere and say, here's all the properties I want set whenever I create a new resource. Because I have like half of the settings for every particle system I do are the same. So if anyone important is listening, anyone from the Godot engine, feature request. I could save as a resource, yes, I suppose. But then the problem is that I have to go in and make it unique so that I don't inadvertently change the saved version of the resource, which I do a lot. So that's kind of why I avoid saving the resource, because I will often just forget to make it a unique copy before I make specific changes. And then I end up changing the resource everywhere in the game. And it's like, ugh, I didn't want to do that. But I guess I could, if I was more disciplined, I could probably just make that work. But the problem is I miss that and it causes headaches. I did add a boss, Mr. Oblivious. But welcome to the stream, Object Like No Other. Glad to have you here. I did add a boss. I'll show you the boss in a little bit. I'm going to do these trails here, and then I will pop in and show you. Here's the art real quick for the boss. Oops. Hello, I am Cheese. Welcome to the stream. Funky Monkey. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the compliment. What was I doing? Right. Let's do scale for this. Thank you, Mr. Oblivious. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'll hop in and show you the boss in a little bit here. So please bear with me while I try to keep keep going. There we go. That's the thing I wanted. Okay. Let's turn the amount up to like 15. We're going to turn the time down to like 0.5. So if I move this, so that's the trail that we've got going on. Probably actually turn that lifetime down even more. Something at 0.3. The nightmare fuel portion of the jam. Yeah, yeah. You could say that. It's actually not that scary. He's actually kind of goofy in the game, so that's actually sticking with the theme of the goofiness. I'm just going to see how this trail... Well, initial velocity, angular velocity is what I want. 401. And then we will set an initial angle, which is probably not necessary, but I like to do it anyway. It's not like the players are going to notice this, so it's almost like it's not even worth the effort to change that property, but maybe I'll stop doing that. Okay, so what we need to do here now is turn off the emitting. So create a reset track, turn off the emitting. When does it get to 0 here? So we'll turn it off there. Okay, probably just turn down the scale and that will probably look fine. And then we can do a burst. Ooh, the burst is going to be so much fun. I like doing explosive type particles more than trail particles. But let me, I'll just tune this trail here and then I'll show you all the boss again. Oh, perfect. Ooh, looking good. Okay. I'm just going to commit this real quick. Oops. Oh, staging is fine. Okay, let's go to my main. Honestly, I should probably just build a test level where I can just drop things in. What I can do here instead is I can just drop the boss in here. All right, so into the game we go for the boss. Okay, so the boss has 20 hit dice, and he does a couple of attacks here. So this attack, he's running around faster than normal, shooting rapidly. This attack is the fan attack. He does 4 waves of 3 cards. And then there's another radial attack, which you've already seen, which is he... Oh, and you're not going to be able to see it because he's in the wall. All right, we'll wait. So here he is running around. Actually, you know what? I want to change that speed. That speed should be up higher. Let's change it to 6. And then what am I going to do? Sprint target timer. I'm going to edit the sprint target timer here down to 2 seconds. Okay. Okay, so there's the radial attack, and then here's the fan attack. I probably need to play with these timings a little bit, but it feels pretty easy, so... And there he goes running around really quick. That's basically all of his attacks. He's got 20 hit points, and so you basically just have to whittle him down. I did also add this little exclamation mark indicator right here, and that indicates that your next dice will damage the enemy. So I don't know if players are going to pick up on that, but it's there for the more attentive players. Otherwise, it's still fun to shoot at the bosses. What is that, a hyena? It's whatever you want it to be, honestly. Like, I just sort of... I mentioned earlier, I kind of subconsciously modeled it after my cat. Because my cat has just the biggest ears of all time. But yeah, it's like a hyena, jackal, cat, you know, like rabid sort of thing. I don't know. But I just started drawing, and that's what I came up with. So that's the boss. I'm going to up the boss's velocity while I'm at it. A hyena-cat hybrid, yeah. Got to play with the timings too, but I should probably not do that right now, but... Okay, yeah, that speed feels a lot nicer. See, the problem with the timings that I have set up right now is that he always follows the radial attack with the fan attack. So I need to tweak that a little bit. But yeah, that's the boss. And they shoot playing cards for who knows what reason. The other change that I made, I don't know if some of you were around when I mentioned it, is that you can only reload your dice now by dashing. So there's no auto reload anymore. So if you're out of dice, the only thing you can do is dash to get more. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have made the player roll instead of dash, because then it would be like, roll the dice, get it? Like, it fits more with the theme, but I'm not going back and redoing it. But if I had thought of that, I would have made it an effort to make it a roll. Anyway, let's continue work on the particles. All right, so the burst. Gosh, there's so much to do. Rolls and animation for later. Yeah, I have a lot of animations for later, though. Actually, let me show you my... Can I show this? Yeah, it should be fine. I'll show you my Trello board here that I've just spun up for the jam. Could have done more with dice mechanic, I imagine. Instead of only damage numbers, dice could done more. Yeah, I can actually go over this here. So I've got a couple of must-have items: enemy death, enemy spawn, sounds, menus, and music or just ambient sound, and a tutorial. So those are the things that I have to get done. And then I need to do these things for polish. So animate the UI some more, cursor, fix the boss not firing projectiles against the wall. I don't know what this means. Player get effect. Animations for the gates that are open, dimming the dice that aren't active as the next one in the list. And then I have this extra over here. I wanted to make explosive barrels that when you hit them with the dice, they get up and either walk to the player or walk to the nearest enemy. Because I thought it would be really funny if like a barrel like popped out of the ground and sprouted legs and then started chasing you while it was flaming or something. But that's definitely extra. I kind of like, I'm torn because I want to do that, but at the same time, I feel like I should just polish up what I have while I have time to do it. So, you just got to make tough decisions, I guess, when you're doing a jam. There's all kinds of stuff you could do, but don't have time for. But who knows? I mean, if people like the game enough, there's always a possibility that I'll continue to work on it. We'll have to see. Right. What am I doing? We're doing explosion, a burst. Process material. We're not doing local coordinates. Initial velocity, we're going to set it to like 100. Oh, I got to put my texture on here. Okay. Direction needs to be up. We're going to turn the spread down to like 25. Yeah, and then gravity can be much higher for the burst. So I like to do high velocities and high gravity for explosions because you get a lot more oomph. At least in my opinion, you get a lot more. Angle, angular velocity. We gotta pick a random image. I think that's working now. Let's do the scale. Okay. Let's do velocity random of 0.75. So everything's going up. Maybe something like re-rolling the dice when you have 4 dice already rolled. You can combine them. If 2 dice is rolled, 4 they turn red. Oh, okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like power up or something. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so much that I wish I could do, but I can't. Some people make absolutely crazy games for these game jams. Especially the people that work in teams. Like you can if you work in a competent team, you can get some really crazy results. I see. Yeah. So they could become combined and then you lose a total one. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. Definitely more room to work with making the dice mechanic more interesting. The trap that I was trying to avoid running into too much was relying too heavily on randomness. Number one, because it's an obvious thing, but number two, because pure randomness isn't fun. So I wanted to do something with dice, but then also mitigate the randomness. And I think maybe I might have done a good job of that, but maybe not. So I don't know. We'll see how people like it, you know? That's the only thing left at this point. Just to see how people like it. Oh, have you? There's a game that I'm thinking of, and maybe you know this one too, where I forgot exactly what the premise was, but like it was this entire like house that was rolling, and you were tethered to the house that was rolling, or like the workshop or the building or whatever. And it was just rolling down like a 2D landscape, and you had to like pick up resources as you were tethered to it and as it was rolling. It was like the art was fantastic, the gameplay was awesome, like everything about it was just like it looked like the game was made in a month rather than a couple days. It was crazy. Thank you, appreciate it. Why is that burst so big? Oh, you know what? I think it's because it's scaling, right? Can I set the global scale on this? Let's see. Add track, property track for the burst, global scale. Okay, well, if it's going to be a big scale, maybe I just turn down the scale of this then. And then I turn down the velocity. Let's try that. Making games is hard indeed. Hey, David, welcome back to the stream. It's late, huh? How is your entry going? Remind me again what your entry is. I'm having a hard time remembering names to projects. Was yours the, I don't want to make myself sound like an idiot, but was yours the one with the dice with the transform transporting you, or is that somebody else in the chat? That's looking good, actually. It's subtle, but it's still got some nice crunch to it. The quantum die. Yep. Okay, cool. I did remember. How's that going? Is it turning out good? So I turn this back up. Once again, I'm probably spending way too much time on a particle. That's fine. I like that better. And I'm going to set an initial color ramp on this. I think. Initial color ramp. Yeah. I'm going to actually save this resource because I'm going to have 2 color ramps. One is going to be white and blue. Actually, technically, the default palette, this is not 100% white. So I'm going to copy this. Paste it in there. I wonder if I could probably add glow to this as well. Do I want to go overboard like that? Why not? Let's go overboard. Glow it is. And then for this one, blue. Actually, whatever. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. How much time left? 17 hours, 40 minutes. Thank you. 15 hours and 49 minutes. I actually didn't get started until 3 p.m. on Friday, so 2 hours after the thing, but I'm going to have my submission done by the technical end of the jam period. That's my goal anyway. Then I'll probably be streaming tomorrow to play some of the submissions after the deadline's over, because I think that'll be a lot of fun. I haven't done that before, and it'll be nice just to chill, hang out a little bit. Ooh, that's too much. I'm going to add 0.4 to each channel. Why does that not seem right? All right, well, I'm not going to do that then. Can't figure it out, so... Turning out very well. It's a puzzler like Portal, but I'm having an issue controlling the materials in between instances and different scenes. Godot's complaining. Otherwise, good. On schedule. Well, that's good. That's good. Might have to pull an all-nighter to get everything you want. Yeah, I'm almost in that boat too. I'm like, is it worth like staying up quite late to see if I can get everything done? Or is it better to get some sleep? Hard to say. All right, so I guess I'm not going to do glow for that one, so we'll do just blue there. So this will look good for the enemy deaths, but I'm going to need to change the color ramp for the player. That glow doesn't appear to be doing anything here. Let's crank it. Why is that not glowing? Does glow not work for... Oh, you know what I can do actually? You know what I can do actually? I keep forgetting that I can do this. And I can just set the modulate of the particles system. Two 255, 247, 248. Okay. I think I can just set the modulate on this burst to my threshold for my glow and see if that works. There we go. Now I get a little bit of a glow burst when they die. Just really subtle, but it really does add a lot of visual appeal. So I like it. I'm going to try it with the trail as well. Again, trivial nonsense, but... Okay. That looks good. I like that. I should add a glow to the player trail as well. That would be a lot of fun. I'm going to do that right now while I'm thinking about it. Footstep particles. Where's my modulate? Looking juicy. Thank you. Gotta max that juice. Squeeze the juice. Like the movement. Thank you, yeah. It turned out pretty good. Can't really complain. I think the glow on the dash looks all right, right? Oh, I dashed right into a playing card. Woo! Oh, this is a multi-wave room. Die. Oops. I did also add the biasing in the player reload. So there's always... there's up to 2 dice every reload that are guaranteed to damage an enemy. And the reason I say up to 2 is because if there's only 1 enemy in the scene, then it will just give you 1 guaranteed matching dice. Or die, rather. But if there's 2 or more, then it will give you 2. So 2 out of every 4 shots is guaranteed to do damage to something. With the potential that all 4 of your shots could do damage, you know. So that made the game feel a lot better. So I need to go here, and I need to save this initial color ramp. Actually, do I even need to do that? What kind of resource is this? Is it just a gradient? Yeah, okay, so a gradient texture. So all right, I'm not going to spend the time to make this look really nice. I'm just going to leave it white, but then for the player, what I can do is I can change the modulate. Yeah, so what I'll do here is in my jib component, I'll export a color. And I'll call it jib modulate. And then when I do this, I'm going to say that, and then I'll set the color to colors.white. All right. So now when I go in the player, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build. So now I should be able to just choose a color here that will be used for the player death, and let's see if that works. Sweet. I'm gonna actually change the color to this one. Actually, I'm not even confident that that's the correct color. I wonder if it's picking the color after the... Well, no, that's the right color. Okay. Or if low number can be a shield instead of firing, you press the right button. That's an interesting idea. In a more complicated game, a version of this game, I think that would be fine. The thing is, the dash makes you invulnerable, so you can dash through things without taking damage. So I think a shield in the current iteration of this game would be a little bit redundant. But yeah, having some sort of consumable or a way to use the dice as a different type of consumable is a really interesting idea. Hey, Fat Man Dev. Welcome to the stream. Good to have you here. All right, I think... Oh, wait. Oh, I only want to... Okay, I only want to apply the modulate to the particles. So that's throwing a wrench in my plans. Well, what we can do is we can do the good old trick where you just nest it under another node. Just like that. And then what I can do is I can say... set particles modulate, and then what I'll do here, node, private node 2D, particles dot modulate equals color. And then in here, or in the gib component, I will just do gib dot set particles modulate. Okay, that should do it. All right, let's go try to die now. Oh wait, I'm trying to die. I don't want to kill things. I gotta fix this issue of enemies being on the wall too. That's really bad. The easy fix would just to not allow them to navigate along the edges. Or at least not along these edges. Is that still not working? All right, well, I'm just going to assume that it's working. Yeah, the Godot 3.5 version added a new pathfind. What's it called? Pathing? What is it called? Navigation something? What is this called? Navigation Agent 2D, but it is not great still. Like, it's definitely easier than what it was before, but you still get weird instances where, like, the pathing doesn't work as expected, and you still have to do a bunch of manual intervention, so it's kind of a bummer, but... Am I using a... No, I'm just using the built-in, whatever Godot uses under the hood, which I believe is A-star, but yeah, Godot provides all of that for you. Which, again, comes with some issues still, but... Okay. So now I need to do a spawn animation for the enemies, and probably for the player as well. So let's get to work on those. Let me move another thing. Enemy death animations, done. All right, enemy spawn animations. I hope that this is going to be really straightforward. I think it should be, but we'll see. Animation, new, spawn, add track, property track. Do I want to just cheat and make it all come in at once with this node? Let's do it. So make it come up. We'll make it stretch in the Y first. Like that. And then it'll come back down to that. Might want to do, I don't know, particles? I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I do, what kind of spawn animation should I do? Watching your channel from 2 years ago and today, I know you're back to the channel. I'm very happy for that. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to be back as well. Yeah, I took a short break. Well, short break from making videos and whatnot. And game dev generally was doing other things, but I'm going to embrace my calling as a Godot YouTuber. Embrace my calling. All right, well, spawn animation's done, so let's just hook that up. I probably need a different spawn state as well, so let's just go ahead and add that. That's probably going to be the easiest thing to do. Machine.addState, enter state, state.spawn, state machine.addEnterState, state.spawn. Nope, not enter state, just state. State spawn. Cool, cool. So let's go into here, private void enter state spawn. I'm gonna take this update facing and put it in the state normal. Okay, enter state spawn, animation player, body animation player dot play, spawn, and then private void state spawn. Give it internal thematic consistency coming out of the ground. So what do you mean by that? Like, because I'm having them just like sprout up like mushrooms, just like bounce out of the ground. But open to suggestions if you have an alternative. So when the animation's done, we'll just change the state to state normal. Honestly, I probably could have just, like zombies. Oh, that didn't work at all. Also, these enemies are like... Oh, I didn't put auto start on. Okay, let's try this now. That didn't work. Is there a reason why this isn't working? Oh, because I didn't set the initial state to state spawn in my state machine. There we go. Let's give that a try. I could make them come out of the ground with a little control trick. Control node trick, but... Let's lengthen the animation a little bit. And maybe we'll make this a little bit less drastic here. What else I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. While I'm thinking of it, enemy spawner. They all spawn at the same time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this wait a little bit before it actually spawns the things. Await to signal, get tree, create timer, mathutil.randfrange, rng.randfrange. Let's wait a minimum of 0.1 and a maximum of 0.5, and we'll await the timeout signal. Okay, see if that makes it a little bit nicer. Yeah, there we go. So they're a little bit staggered now. Force an update there. I think that'll prevent some of the flickering. There we go. All right, it's something. Maybe I should make the ground outside the maze a different color. Well, the problem is that maybe a texture would be okay. But the problem is I'm rigidly sticking to this texture or this list of colors. But a texture might be okay. I will write that down as something to handle as polish. Or maybe if I could texture the floor a little bit. The problem is that I don't really have any subtle colors to use, but maybe I can break up the floor somehow. Yeah, I'll have to think about that. All right, I have to do a spawn animation for the boss now as well, so let me do that. Honestly, I should probably just... Can I just, whatever, it's pretty easy. Maybe I'll just open up the enemy here and just take a look. See if I can memorize this. 0, 0.5, 1.5, 1.5, 0.8, 1. I'm not going to remember those, but that's all right. Move back a bit. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yes, I agree. I'm going to see if I can prioritize that one. I don't know what this one is, so I'm going to mark this one as done. I wrote player git effect, like git version control, and I don't know what that means. So I'm going to assume that it's not important. Demon, welcome. All right. Let's create, same deal here. I'm going to create a new state for spawn. Mark it as done as move on. Yep, exactly. Exactly. That's how I do my job at work. I don't know what this one is. Done. No, that's not true. But sometimes I wish I could do that. Let's copy some code. Just realized that I forgot to move the boss in this state, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. State sprint. Oh, I do have follow path up there. Why is that all the way up there? That's future me's problem, yeah. Generally, I try not to create as many problems as possible for future me, but can't always do that. Sometimes future me has to suffer. So here's another trick too. When you're playing, when you're trying to play an initial animation, and you need it to start in a different state than what the scene is by default, what you can do is you can just, after you call play on that animation you want, just call seek to 0 seconds with this true, which forces an update, and boom, no flickering in your animation. It gets set to the initial state immediately before any frames are drawn. And that's a nice little trick. Boom. All right, let's see if that works. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to go in here. I'm going to take an enemy spawner, copy it, and I'm going to put the boss on it. And then we're going to go in. Yes, indeed, it is amazing. Godot's animation systems are pretty powerful. Okay, that one's done. All right, what's next on the must-have? Sounds. I'm going to probably start sounds later. I do need to do a tutorial and some menus. All right, let's do, actually, let's knock back the enemies when they get hit. That sounds good to me. That should be fairly straightforward. Not the boss, but just the normal enemies. So I should be able to grab the direction here. So I think I should be able to just do like velocity component dot velocity. Oops. Dot velocity. Can I set the velocity? I can. dot direction times, I don't know, let's just write a magic number, 300. What if a 6 bounces off the wall? Well, the trick about this game is that there are no 6s. These are 4-sided dice. 6 was a little bit too random for my liking, so I shortened the pool of possible numbers to 4, just to make it play better. So it's not a true dice, but I could make 4s bounce off the wall. The problem is I don't know how I'd communicate that to the player simply and easily. Huh. That doesn't appear to be working. Sometimes. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Very interesting. Yeah, I think these are all good suggestions though, but I think I can't work on any new mechanics until I get all my polish work done. That's a hard and fast rule I've set for myself. So what's there is more or less what's going to be there when the game is released, unless I find time to add something else. But I doubt that I'm going to be able to do so. But we'll see. I mean, keep the suggestions coming though, because I'm going to steal them if I decide to work on the game some more. But yeah, just don't be surprised if I can't get to them in time. So when I'm getting hit, maybe I'll just do because I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, I do think that there's something missing in this game's mechanics, but I'm kind of hoping that I can mask it with just some polish. Just like paint over it, so to speak. Just give people a nice little experience. And the nice thing about GMTK is that they don't rate your game. At least one of the rating categories is not adherence to the theme. So it's all about like how does it play and how does it feel. So I feel like with this kind of jam specifically, like if you're not getting rated on the theme specifically, then yeah, just max out the other rating categories, you know? With Ludum Dare, I would definitely get knocked for not making better use of the dice mechanic for sure. So I'm going to set the knockback direction here, and then in state normal, what I can do, if knockback direction is not equal to null, else. Let's see if that works. Oh, goodbye. I forgot to reset it. The problem here too is that I wonder if I can get away with doing it in here. Just put it above the process here and then equals null. Let's see if I can get away with doing that up there, because then it will apply to all states, the knockback. Let's see how that looks. Oh, it might be working. Yeah, there we go. Got a little bit of knockback. If I was really fancy, I could add a different state for the knockback and add an animation for that, but I think that's good for now. Okay, knockback done. What's next on the list? Animated dice UI. I should probably fix this projectile issue because that's causing problems. So I think I can probably just fix that in the card projectile. I already fixed this for the player, and it just involves doing a raycast, then offsetting everything. So I think I can probably just do that. All right, so when I set the direction, oh, maybe this is going to be harder than I thought. You know what I can do actually is I can do a little trick. Call deferred. Name of offset from wall. Private void offset from wall. Okay, and essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my global position and I'm going to raycast out to the target position. So what I'm going to do is I'm essentially just going to say I'm going to take the direction and multiply it by 1,000. So I just cast it out in a direction. Actually, no, I don't want to do that. We'll just do a couple pixels. So we're going to go from the origin to the target minus the target position. Wait a minute. How do I want to do this? I guess it doesn't. Yeah, so I'll just do target position. So going from the position that the card is spawning at to a couple pixels in the target direction. If there's a collision, that means it's inside the wall. And I'll just need to move it along the direction vector a little bit more, I think. Or just move it along the normal or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Global position plus equals raycast normal times 8. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to put the boss in here. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like, I'm not going to spend my time making sure that absolutely every card that should make it is going to make it. But I need it to not, like, kill all of the cards, you know? I also need to test and make sure that this works on web. Where are you going? I need you to go up against the wall, sir. There he goes. Stay there. No. I suppose I could just disable his movement. That probably would be easier, hey? Let's do that. So if he's up against the wall... That's fine. So he's up against the wall. I'm just thinking that my solution might not work, but we'll see. So my boss here, boss, anywhere that we have a velocity component dot move, we're just going to comment that out. All right, let's go. All right, spoiler alert, it is not working. Does it even work in principle? Like if I'm calling it, right? Yeah, offset from wall. Does it even work in principle if I like shift it by a lot? Okay. Oh, my battery level's low on my mouse. One second. All right. We're fixed. We got a reload / charging cable. I don't know how I'm going to fix this, to be honest. I guess what I could do is I could do a reverse raycast. So what I could do instead is... Oh, well, that might not work either. We'll try it, I guess. Well... It's going to be very difficult to come up with a solution that works, I think, for this case. Unless... Dang. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Offset from wall. So we got the direction. What if I just did like half the tile size? Gonna just have to experiment. I don't know what's going on. Okay, that's not working. I'm gonna print just to make sure that this is actually working the way I want it to. I'm gonna print. All right, well, that is working for sure. Let's reverse these. So I'm gonna go from my target position, coming back at the origin, and then see if there's a collision there. And if there's a collision there, then I'm just gonna move the card to that point. That doesn't appear to be working either. Almost there. But this is not going to work now. Now cards are going to escape out of the level as well. Dang. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I wonder if the ordering of my code here has something to do with it. Setting the global position first. That appears to have done nothing, so that's cool. Well, oof, homework rough. What I'm trying to do is the boss, if he goes up against the wall, this problem occurs where the cards immediately die, which actually I think I might have just found a solution. I think instead of trying to move the cards after they're spawned, I will move the spawn location. So the projectile origin here. What I'll do is I'll just do a raycast from the feet to the projectile origin, and then if there's a collision in that point, I'll just shift it. And then I can generalize that. Yep, I think this is going to work. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to create a projectile origin component. I'm going to create a script for it. And basically it's just going to do a check every frame for a raycast from the owner's global position to its global position. And I'm going to need to take note of my default position. So private vector2 default position. So on ready, it's going to take note of the position it's placed at in the scene. Then public override void. I probably don't need to do this every process frame, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to copy this over here. Okay, so the target position is going to be the owner as node 2D dot global position. Actually, so I need to do a cast to the owner.toGlobal default position. So I'm going to do from the owner.global position to the target position. Okay. The raycast is not equal to null. We are going to set the global position of this projectile origin component to the raycast position, offset by a little bit of the normal. And is that it? So that should just fix my problem, so I don't need to do this offset from wall stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to build this. I'm going to put that on the boss. So instance projectile origin component, we're going to slap that right there. Got to update the boss as well. Whoops, spelled it wrong. $16 hours left. Yes, indeed. Trying to grind away. That's like 2 work days. I've got 2 work days left. All right, I think I fixed it. Huzzah, look at that. Of course, some of the cards in the radial attack are still going to die because they're going up into the wall. So that's like somewhat, I mean, not intentional per se, but it is normal. All right, fixed. Now time to implement it for the enemy. I got this easy. Thank you for the words of encouragement. I appreciate it. I think I do. I think I do got this. But I just have to remain like disciplined, focused, get it done. I'm going to be a husk of a person tomorrow, I'm sure, but all good. We'll all be husks of people. All right, I'm just going to make sure that this also works for the regular enemies as well. See if this guy will... Well, I'll go to a different room. Oh no. That's not good. I'm sorry. That sucks. Yes. All right, I think it's fixed. Oh, that one broke. That one broke too. That one broke too. What's going on? Did I not fix it? You know what I just realized? I think I still have all the movement commented out here. What do you want, bud? Come here. Let me fix this before I forget. I think maybe I just need to offset the card a little bit more. So the card projectile, let's just make it something, or rather the projectile origin component, let's just make it something more like 6. Give plenty of room for the card. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to set the velocity component to 0 here, and then I'm going to go to my main scene, instance a child node, enemy, put them right up against the wall, and see if that works. Okay, that appears to be working. What happens if I go this way? Perfect. All right. Confirmed working. All right, that's done. So we've got animated dice UI next. Cursor after that, gate animations, dim dice that aren't next in the health bar, texture the floor. I have 4 more must-have items that I need to do tomorrow, which are sounds, menu, and finding some music. I don't think I'm going to do music. I think I'm going to try to forego music this time, and maybe I'll just add some generic like dungeon sounds for like the ambience, and then just have the combat sounds. I think I'm going to do that. I mean, this game kind of feels like I could use some arcadey music, maybe if I find something good, but the problem is like, I don't know where to find good music, you know? I just basically have to peruse like all the free music that's available everywhere, and it's just not that great in my opinion, but you know, what can you do? I'm going to try to do some dice UI animation for the player now, I think. Make my own. I'm not that talented of a musician yet. Oh, I wish I could. I mean, I could do like, you know, those little chiptune tool creator things, but all right, so here's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to animate these things. Actually, do you think I should I make the player versions of the dice red as well? I guess I can handle that later, but sure you could do it. Well, thank you. Maybe someday I will try to put some effort into learning it. Maybe someday. So I'm just setting up some basic squash and stretch for the dice that are coming into the magazine here. Got to do that cubic interpolation, you know what I'm saying? Oh, and the rotation degrees, I need to go to 0 as well. All right. Is that going to work? Yeah, I'm the same top 10. I am the same. All right, got a little roll animation now going. Probably make it, I could probably make it a little bit longer, honestly. So we've got roll animations for the dice. I probably can make that scale way bigger. To really sell the fact that this is coming in. Alrighty. That turned out better than I thought it was going to. Now we need animations for them being consumed. That's going to be the tricky part because right now I'm relying on the fact that it's being removed from the tree in order to do other operations. And I just don't know if that's going to cause problems, you know? But we'll see. New animation. We're going to call animation out. Actually, I don't know if that's going to be a problem. I'm going to try to do this as dynamically as possible. Bullets. Where's my magazine? Q free. Yeah, so here's the problem here. Get child 0 dot Q free. So the problem is that if this first child is still animating out, the problem is going to be that I'm going to call the same animation on the same thing. So I'm just going to need to do some filtering here and say, find me the first child that isn't playing an animation currently. Should be pretty straightforward, but it's just something I got to be mindful of. Otherwise, the UI is going to get out of sync if I don't pay attention to that. All right, so what I want to do for the dice is I want to make it like explode a little bit out of the magazine, like it's got shot, you know what I mean? Not like a super explosion, but more of a just hop, a quick hop out, you know? Let's play the reset track here. Okay, so for the scale, we're going to make it squish. Well, we should start it at 1, at 0.05. Boom. Boom. So we're going to make it squish a lot. Boom. Okay. And then it's going to go that. Okay, now we got to modify the position. Did I tell you to reset your position? Apparently I did. Okay, now we're going to add some rotation. When it stretches right here, we're going to start spinning it. Probably like 180 or something. Why is this all the way out here? Reset that. I hope that doesn't cause problems. It shouldn't. Has Godot given you any challenges? In the past, yeah, for sure. I'm trying to recall some things. Challenges what, like in terms of like technical barriers or gotchas, quirks? What kinds of things are you thinking of? If you're thinking of technical barriers, I haven't encountered. Well, okay. One of the major issues that's getting solved with Godot 4 is being unable to like modulate a whole group of sprites. So fade a whole bunch of sprites to alpha without the alphas mixing together. You know what I mean? So like you have a 50% transparent sprite and a 50% transparent sprite, and you overlap them. In the current version of Godot, that overlap is just going to be, I guess, you know, it's going to be mixed. And so you're going to see the sprites through each other, right? But with Godot 4, you're going to have sprite groups or canvas groups or whatever they're called. So you can change the alpha of all of those things as a unit. That's been something that's hurt me in the past in terms of made it difficult to do certain things that I wanted to do. So that's one thing I can think of. Anything that would seem simple in the engine that's kind of weird to do in Godot. That's one thing. There's been others, and I can't remember. Hexagonal tile maps are a huge pain in Godot. I think that's being addressed as well. But yeah, I did a hexagonal tile map project at one point, and it didn't. It was really hard to get the tile map to work correctly, even though Godot is supposed to support it out of the box. But it wasn't out of the box. What else? I think that's basically, those are the big things. I've done a little bit of work with multiplayer, and that was all fine, but that's even being improved with Godot 4. Yeah, I don't know. If I think of anything else, I'll let you know. But I can't think of anything else at the moment, honestly. Yeah, I mean, I use Godot very regularly, as you can see, and for 2D development, and you see the kind of games that I'm making. I'm not making anything super fancy. For the kind of stuff that I do in it, it's a breeze. It's really, there's a couple of quirks here and there that you just need to learn how to deal with. But in terms of technical barriers, I'm not running into any. Now, if you talk to somebody that works a lot in 3D, I'm sure you'll get a ton of things that are wrong with the engine. But 2D, all good. I don't have many complaints at all. It's very, very good. Super shock. Yeah, it's really light. It's very, very light. Okay, so this changed pretty simply. So kill. Let's do. Oh, man. Did I call it die? I don't know. Let's see. Something's wrong. Animation not found, die. Why? Because I called it out for some reason. Excellent. Good work, me. Okay, so there's one thing that I'm not doing now, which is that I'm not freeing this. So let's free it. Not queue sort. I don't want to queue sort. I want to queue free. And I also want to shrink the minimum size of this rect. And the reason is, you'll see, because everything will slide. So when I change this minimum size to 0, okay. The game's going to make me out to be a liar. I guess I'll just set the min size to 0 here at first, and then I'll change the regular size. So as that shrinks, that's going to shift everything else in the UI in real time. And actually, I can probably... Let's see if that works. Wish the autocomplete was better in the editor. Oh, that doesn't work. Maybe I should have done min size. Yeah, the editor, are you talking about like in the Godot editor itself? I mean, I use VS Code with the extension for GDScript stuff. And that seems to be pretty good. There we go. So you see how that shifts now in real time? So instead of jerking around it, like, it just shifts a little bit nicer. And what I'm going to do also is, so I'm removing a queue, freeing children here, but instead what I'm going to do is going to say dot get children dot where nothing is dying, and then I'm going to say dot can I not do for each? So now that animation is going to hang around when I reload. So any currently dying dice, which I don't even know how important that was to keep. But yeah, the little things are the best, yeah. Oh, that's a thing. Are you talking about the Godot VS Code extension? Yeah, there's a VS Code extension for Godot, which is really nice. I believe that extension also comes with like launch commands, so you can run your game with a command in VS Code. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, once there's some sounds in this game, man, this is going to be looking really good. Okay, one thing's bothering me a lot. First of all, I'm going to say... Okay, so I think those animations are good. Maybe I'll tweak them some more, but I'm just going to say they're animated, so that's it. There's one thing that's bothering me, and that is that the gates are super static right now. So I'm going to see if I can fix that. Yes, VS Code does have everything, and that's why I use it for everything. You want me to do 100% original sounds with just my mouth. Do you want me to ruin my game? Do you want me to ruin it? Maybe less competition, yeah. I mean, okay, you knock one person out of several thousand. Fair. Oh, you know what? I just realized. My laser is super big for some reason, so I'm going to... Oh dear. How big is it in pixels? 5. Yeah, these lasers are like really static, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to... what's the word? Animate them. Yeah, how big do you want the laser? Yes. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the scale. Create a reset track for that. Create a reset track for that. And you guessed it, a reset track for that as well. Tricky thing is I'm going to want this to be offset somewhat. So there's that one. And then let's make this longer. More subtle of an animation. Take this out to 1. Take this to 0.5 and to 1.5. And then we'll do like, I guess 0.25 and 1.25. No, that's not right. 1.75. No, that's not right either. I think I was correct with 1.25. All right, well, it's not much, but I think that is going to add at least something to the gates. Or it's going to make them look totally garbage. Oh, it looks okay, I guess. I think these need to be reversed, though, these keyframes. There, now it's going to happen in order. Top down. Oh, I need a name for this game. Oh, wow. That's going to be the hardest thing. I am not putting the word dice or die in the title, so that's ruled out. I'm going to tweak the enemy knockback a little bit. Knock it down a little bit. Knock down the knockback. Okay, I just had an idea. What kind of cat is the boss? Well, my cat that he's loosely modeled after is a sphinx. So they have huge ears and skinny faces. So that would be the closest answer to that question. But it doesn't have to be a cat if you don't want it to be. It could be a hyena. It could be a jackal. It could be an IRS agent. Whatever you want. I just had an idea for, so I already forgot who it was. I think David. Yeah, David suggested breaking up the purple. So I just had an idea for maybe a tile that I can make for to break up the monotony. And so I'm going to give that a shot. And what I'm essentially going to do is I'm just going to create like an actual tile in the floor and try to like just make it super cash, you know what I'm saying? Super casual. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing here, but my only goal is to just break up some of the monotony here. How about Sphinx Casino High Rollers Gauntlet? Interesting. I'm a sucker for casinos, so Sphinx Casino High Rollers Gauntlet. Very interesting. I like it. Maybe I'll find a way to sneak the word Sphinx into there. People will be like, "What does this mean?" And then they'll see the boss and they might go, "Oh." I don't know. What do you think? Is that I don't know if that's even going to do anything to break up the monotony. The problem is I don't really have many like low contrast items or colors here to work with, and so it's I'm finding it very difficult to make like background elements that aren't going to be super distracting. And I don't want to cheat and like pick a new color, you know? I have to stick to it. So, I don't know. Let's see if that works. Actually, I probably do want to move this closer. Yeah, I'm staying exactly within. Yeah, little dealers chasing you around. And that would be fun, like a little neon themed casino game. Oh, and I could see it too, like you're going into like the blackjack table section and there's a bunch of tables set up and you're throwing the dice and the tables are breaking and cards are flying everywhere. Like adding like a bunch of environmental clutter and stuff would be super cool. Like have some enemies that throw like chip frisbees at you. I can see it. What am I doing? Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool little theme idea there. All right, let's change the priority of this one. Nope, not that one. We'll give it one in every 100 tiles will be that new one. So really? Okay, so 1% of tiles will be that. Oh, there's one. I don't even think that looks good. I don't know. What do you think? Leave it or remove it? To have like these random tiles in the ground, just sort of breaking up the monotony. Alternatively, I could make all of the floor blue and then have the background be purple, but then that might be too bright. Floor tiles are nice. I guess my concern is that it's just too like bright. But, you know, I have an add-on called Retile that I can use here. Sorry, I'm just going to my profile now so I can download it. Godot add-on Retile. Sorry, I'm just doing this off screen real quick. Paste it into my, GMTK, add-ons. Okay, so if I go to my editor settings, whoops, project settings, auto load, where's my plugins? Yep, we'll enable that plugin. So now I've got a little retile button up here, and I'm going to click that, but before I do, I'm going to commit what I have. Okay. Hey, welcome, Jerry Lynn. The dice, so I'll explain the game real quick, but first I'm going to click this retile button. So if I click this retile, it's going to reapply auto tile to every tile in the tile map. So if I click retile, boom, now I've got tiles everywhere instead of having to redo it all myself. And I think they're a little bit too common. Oh, maybe not. I can also click it a few times until I get a randomness that I want. Okay, Jerry Lynn, so the dice under the player are like your bullets, essentially, that you use to shoot at enemies. So it's like a 2D top-down shooter, except in this game, the enemies have to be hit with the same numbered dice that's floating above their head. So this guy I have to hit with a 4, otherwise he won't take damage. And so I just hit him with a 4 there, and then I can hit him with the 2 to kill him. And then I can press space or shift to dash, and that reloads my dice, gives me a new shuffle. And then I can hit him again. So that's the idea. Instead of traditional health, they have dice that you have to match to them. And yeah, I don't know if there's much else to say beyond that. Thank you for asking. Maybe I'll play through the game real quick. Thank you. I'm going to play through the game real quick, actually. So I'll do a playthrough so you all can see what the game looks like right now in its current iteration. And then I'm going to go to bed and continue my work in the morning to get it ready for the jam submission deadline. So basically just a couple of levels. I'm not making the game too terribly long because I want people to get to the end, to the boss. The nice thing about this game is that it's nice and short, so you can just restart it if you want to play it again. But let me know if your opinions, if when I'm done with this run, if you think the game should be longer. I would love to do like optional pathways, but there would be no point in those. Maybe if I have time tomorrow, I'll add another enemy type. I really want to do an enemy type that like chases you down and explodes. I think that would be really cool. Make it fast. Make it hard to hit. Maybe not hard to hit, but just make it fast so it kind of like draws your attention away for a little bit. Yeah, I do too. I do think another enemy type would be nice. So maybe I'll just try to see if I can bust, you know, like just get the hustle going, you know what I'm saying? See if I can get all of my must-haves done. I got to do sound and a tutorial. But if I have time after all that and I can add a new enemy type, I think I'm going to go for it. But I've got a couple of things I need to fix first. It's a couple things I need to address. This room's pretty long. I think this is the room before the boss room. I'm also not really paying attention to the enemies that I should be hitting. There's the boss. Oh, wow. He got me. Back into the room. Oh, and then I took damage. Cool. Dead. And then this is going to be the room where there will just be some text like, thank you, you know? But yeah, so that's the entirety of the game. Obviously, I know how to play my game. That was pretty quick. What did that take? Like a couple minutes. So I'm thinking maybe it'll take a normal person 5 to 10 minutes to complete the game. Somebody that needs to get familiar with the controls and all that. So what do y'all think? Also, I'm going to turn on this runnable version so I can test out the web version. Oh, do I need to download the templates? Well, I'll just download those. But yeah, let me know if you have any opinions on what the game is like right now. Running out of time to implement feedback, but any and all feedback is appreciated. Great so far, thank you. Looks awesome. Cool, cool. One more enemy type is all I'd add. All right, just for you, top 10. I'm going to try extra hard tomorrow to get that done. Let's see, if I get up at like 8, no, if I get up at 7, maybe I'll set an alarm and I'll get up at 7. Get up at 7, sit down at the computer at like 7:30-ish, then have until 1 p.m/3 p.m. to get the submission done. So that will give me, so if I start work at like 8, that'll give me 5 hours of work to do that. It's going to be cutting it close. It's going to be cutting it close, but we'll see. I want to make sure the web version works real quick before I end the stream, because I am always paranoid about the web version not working, because that's like the version that most people are going to use. This doesn't look right. I'm glad I caught that. Why is that happening? Aspect. We'll just do keep aspect. I could do some fancy like display scaling stuff. Maybe I'll add that tomorrow too, but we'll just keep it. Keep it 16:9 ratio. All right, well, this is running in a browser. It seems to be just fine. That's a nice stretch, yeah. Squash and stretch the game window. Camera shake? What about window shake? Is this even looking okay on the stream? Oh, it is. Okay, excellent. Brave browser, what a software developer. Yeah, I was using Microsoft Edge for a little bit, but then I switched to Microsoft Edge because it felt less bloated than Chrome, and then it became more bloated than Chrome, so then I switched to Brave. It's like I don't need my browser to do everything, you know? Like there's other software programs that I have installed, don't worry. Oh, lag. If I die, it's because of lag. Goodbye. All right. Cool. All right, then. I think that'll be it for the stream for tonight. So, yeah, thank you all for watching. Big day tomorrow. Submission day. I've got a handful of things left in my to-do list. Sounds, menus, a cursor, a tutorial, and some other fixes that I want to do. I think it'll be doable. I think I can get it all done, but we're going to have to see how it goes. So, but yeah, thank you all for watching. I will be streaming tomorrow, probably around the submission time, to play some games. So, yeah, catch me then if you can. And otherwise, good evening/morning to you all, and see you at the submission deadline.